really are the weirdos, mister.
Once upon a time, there was light in my life. Woo, child, listen, there's a lot we've got to talk about with regard to the Love is Blind reunion. Now there's only love in the dark. This video is going to be long, so buckle up, buttercup. Nothing I can do, a total eclipse of the heart. I'm Audra, welcome and or welcome back to my channel. Once upon a time, I was falling in love. I am so excited for this because now I'm only falling apart. First of all, a big up to my patrons. Nothing you can say, total eclipse of the heart. Because the few of us who got to make it, for everyone who could, we watched it together. It was a weird little wild ride. And I do want to, before I really get into this, because my girl Tony was out there being like, I hope you do a full breakdown, and baby, I'm going to, okay? Couple by couple is what we're gonna do. It's the only way to do it. Ooh, coffee's just about ready. Listen, you know the Keurigs be doing the most? I'm sorry, it's flavored coffee. I know how one of you hates it, and I love flavored coffee. It's so good to me. I enjoy it. My coffee is more sugar and cream than it is coffee. That's the kind of coffee drinker I am. And there are people out there who'll be like, that's not even coffee. You know what? Mind your own bitter business. Mind your own bitter business. The first prop I'm gonna give, it looks like this time Vanessa and Nick took a few of the notes that we as the audience handed out and were like, stop softballing these people. Tell them what's up. We need the truth. We need you to really ask deeper questions, because y'all just like sit there and let people just get away with bullshit and just like move on. You know what I mean? We're over it. Stop doing it. Like, we all want to have a nice time. And it's certainly not a nice time, a dramatic nice time, when you're just like letting people gloss over the shiz that they did to one another. So that's the good. So now we're going to get into the nitty gritty, and we're going to go couple by couple. Yes, I am aware of the assault charge. That is something that we're going to talk about on a different, we may talk about it in a stream. I am not sure, because I've been getting in my filming zone, and baby, I'm like, oh, look at me winning. Am I? We don't know. Is the mic in the right position? We're about to find out. I'm like, we're about to find out. Do I need it closer to my mouth? Who cares? Who cares at this point? So let us first begin with the most boring couple. Well, they seem to be the most boring couple, JP and Taylor. Now, they started out with this like cute little sugar bear, sugar bet, like love story where they were just so adorable, and it really looked like they were going to be this season's Tiffany and Brett, because they found each other so quickly. They were totally enamored with one another, and then they met.
Oh my God. Sugar bet!
What's up?
Oh my goodness. Hi.
How you doing?
Did you think I was gonna look like this? What do you think?
I try not to picture you.
Well, we didn't tell each other anything, really.
I know, it's good.
I was like, my eyelash was gonna fall off. These are fake, by the way.
Oh, they're not that long in real life?
Yeah, no.
You can tell.
And I started thinking like, oh, what if he doesn't like the way I look?
Now, y'all, I don't know how you could get more awkward with a meeting, and I missed a lot of the awkwardness because I put all of the first time meetings, like the awkwardness, I just think that it's always gonna be awkward. I never really consider it not being awkward. I always think that it's gonna be a little weird. And the reason I think that is because like I would find that awkward. Like, I'm talking to you behind like in a room through a wall, and like now we're meeting in person and we're expected to like touch and hug and like be excited about this. But also, if you don't exactly meet what I was thinking of in my head, that's a little weird. And that's where JP and Taylor just start to fly off the rails. All right, they get to the honeymoon suite, and JP, by the way, wasn't much of a talker from jump. Like, he was very, no, I'm filming. Like, JP's communication skills, I think that he thinks that just like listening and nodding in agreement is communicating, and no, it's actually not. And at first I was on his side because it did seem and feel a little bit like Taylor was pushing too hard to have conversation. But when you really go back and look at it, she's just trying to like have a conversation, period. And he's just like, yeah. And as awkward and weird as things are, they only get more awkward and weird. Also, I'm just gonna show this scene again because girlfriend and her T-tots were doing the most, and I'm so sorry. They were just floating up like two beautiful, beautiful balloons. I can't, listen, I am only a human being, and those are nice. Anyway, I'm not sure what possessed JP in his great wisdom. And I said this in my video that I won the copyright strike on. It was very exciting. They released the copyright strike and I was able to have the video out, and like this channel's not even monetized. So it's like, I'm having a good time. I was just happy that I was able to like have that removed. Anyway, I said it there. I'm going to say it here for all of you who missed it. I thought it was very odd that he was like, let's go off-roading essentially. And here's the thing about that. You don't do kind of weird things with people that you're not comfortable with yet. You know what I mean? Like, that's not an activity that you do when you're not comfortable with one another, because it's not a fun time. You're not having fun when you're uncomfortable with that person anyway, right? So he's like, yeah, let's go do this. And she's just not having fun. What he should have done instead was like take her for a lunch where they could talk to each other and he could discuss things, but it just wouldn't work out. He just refused to do it. So then we get to the big scene where, you know, everybody knows by now, JP loses his mind apparently because she was wearing makeup at the reveal, and he found that so horrifically unappealing that it ruined everything. Mind you, for almost the entirety of their like engagement moon, that's what I call it because they're not married yet, but for almost the entirety of the engagement moon, it's the way that she didn't wear makeup. Like, it's the way that she was barefaced almost the entire time there. So like his excuse falls apart. Like, just say you weren't attracted to her and that's fine. Like the way that you made things weird and awkward between the two of you the whole time, instead of just addressing it, was just unnecessary. And just to say that she wasn't your type is fine. But then to try to like force her into a box and be like, well, it just seemed fake. And this is one thing I can't stand about a man. Anytime a man tries to say that makeup is fake, and I'm just like, so you're saying that by me wearing some colored powder on my eyes and my face, somehow that makes me a fake person? Like, you couldn't tell who I was or what I look like. You're like, oh my God, your eyelashes forced me to not be able to communicate with you. It had magical powers, which I get it. We can kind of be witches, but still ridiculous. His whole thing was, I saw you with makeup. I couldn't communicate. It ruined my life. And I'm done now. And it, like, he just couldn't get past it. He couldn't get over the makeup.
I understand that you tried to present yourself and look as best you could. But I feel like if you would have presented yourself like this, without any makeup, it would have been better.
And never had a conversation about it until she just kept pushing. And then he just said that. And instead of, that wasn't it. That's the thing, is that wasn't it. He just wasn't attracted to her. He did not find her attractive, which would have been fine if he had just said that, instead of trying to make her feel insecure, like the red pill swallowing piece of shit he is. So now here we are at the reunion. Baby, when I tell you Taylor came out looking regal AF, and I can't remember who said it in the Patreon Zoom when we were watching it, but they were like, look at her looking like Khloe. She came out looking like Khloe Kardashian. She had like her hair, her whole stance was very like, I'm queen of this bitch and you will not knock me off of my throne. And I was living for it. The gold dress, the gold skin, the updo, everything. She was looking absolutely immaculate. And I really think that was a blow to JP, who still can't communicate, by the way.
What was hard for you, JP?
Just knowing that I probably should have done more, and I didn't know, like...
Still can't. He says he's in a relationship and has been in one for about a year. So congratulations to him and the pick-me he found. And before anybody comes here being like, just because she doesn't wear makeup doesn't make her a pick-me. If she's dating JP, she is a pick-me. I'm so sorry. There's only one type of woman that would date a man like that, and that is a pick-me, okay? She wanted to be picked so bad that she will put up with a man who doesn't communicate, because he said he's working on his communication skills. but he can't even communicate here. Boy, please. What did you learn? Nothing? I feel like nothing is the answer. And also, just because you don't like to wear makeup or you can't wear makeup or a combination of the two does not a pick me make. What makes you a pick me is that I'm not like other girls in that shit. Like, I'm not like other girls. I don't need to wear all the makeup to be pretty. I like my natural face. Good for you, babes. No one's saying that we don't. Like, I love my natural face. I've been on stream multiple times, no makeup, do not care. But I also like to look like a bad bitch. I like to be extra, okay? We all do. I put this makeup on for me and my patrons today. So you can see, like, I'm playing with makeup that I haven't, been able to play with. I'm trying to play with every single palette I own. So that I can, determine if I need to declutter things. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're going back into this. So he doesn't ever really apologize. Like, he kind of apologizes for the delivery, but not for what he meant, which is, I don't like girls who wear makeup.
I'm sorry for that, and I did not intend for that to come out that way, and it came out wrong, and I do feel bad for that, so I apologize. I genuinely wanted to just let you know that I thought you looked beautiful without makeup, and that's the only thing I was trying to say, and it came out wrong, and I'm sorry, and yeah.
Again, this is one of those things that bothers me about this show, amongst the many things that bother me about Love is Blind. But one of the things that really does bother me about that is, like, why did he not say anything about that in the pods? Like, because here's the thing. I get that we're trying to play a game of, like, oof, let me just move this over here. It's stressing me out. I'm, like, looking at this monitor and it's, like, kind of not even. And I was, like, getting panicked. But Bo just came over here and farted. But here's the thing that bothers me is, like, I need to know what kind of questions people are asking in these pods, because that seemed to be a very important thing to JP. Now, I don't like him. I don't like most men, but certainly I don't like JP, because I'm pretty sure he wouldn't like me. Let's just say that. I'm a little too deep in the skin for JP. All right, so, but it would seem that since that was such an important thing to him, that would have been a question he should have asked, like, early. Because, again, the point isn't that looks don't matter. And I feel like that's kind of the thing that's getting missed in this Love is Blind. It isn't that looks don't matter. I think that they're trying to market it that way, but it isn't. It's more that you're not allowed to fall in love with someone based on how they look, right? Because the whole point is, most of us are out there in the dating world. If you're dating, I am not. I date in here, and good Lord, it's sexy. But when I did date, the truth of the matter is, you fell for someone based on their looks, which is another reason why you probably fall into the same pattern with getting with the wrong people, because you overlook red flags because the person matches everything you want looks wise. So you're like, no, it's fine that they do this really irritating thing. That's definitely not going to irritate me 3 months from now. But it is. The point of Love is Blind, my perspective, is that you're supposed to fall in love with a person, not how they look. And then the looks should still be something that you can overlook, I guess, because you know them inside. Not so much that looks don't matter. Did that make sense? Because it sounds like I'm saying looks don't matter, but they do matter, right? Because when he sees her and he realizes, like, oh, this is one of the makeup wearing bitches, he is, like, beside himself. He cannot function anymore. He doesn't, because I think this is what I think happened, and I'm not defending him. I am saying what I think happened is he doesn't like women who wear makeup. He saw Taylor with makeup on. And his mind has been running a mile a minute ever since he saw that, being like, is this what I'm going to have to live with every day? Which he did say. Am I going to have to live with somebody who, like, constantly puts makeup on? Am I going to have to wait for them to get ready every time? Am I, like, every day, is this going to be how they look? Is it going to be just like an everyday thing? And because he doesn't know how to communicate, he couldn't just ask her that early on in the whole thing. He couldn't just be like, listen, I probably should have said this in the pods. I didn't. I don't know why I didn't. It's super important to me that the person I date not wear makeup. I'm not into it. I just don't like makeup. I think that for me, I like a woman who doesn't wear any makeup at all. That's my thing, right? And if he had asked that early, like in the pods, then first of all, he wouldn't have had anybody. So that's probably why he didn't ask. Just.
Is she someone that you would go hit on in a bar?
Generally, I don't. And any women, I have my friends do that. Like, they'll be the icebreaker, and then I'll get to talking after.
The look on Stacy's face when he says this wild ass shit, like, this man, where did he come from? What interview process took place for the producers to select him to marry someone on the show? Please explain it to me. He can't even go hit on a woman himself. He has to have his bros do it. What the fuck? Yes, the spoon is still in here because, like, I don't have a place to put it. I don't have a sink in here. It's just like, not yet. Listen, one day I might figure it out. One day I might have one built in. Who knows? There's a cupboard right there or whatever. Listen, I'm still unpacking. Let me live. So their whole reunion, nothing really gets fixed. They're both dating, but please note his face, JP's face, when she's like, I'm just dating somebody. We're not official, just dating.
Not dating, just seeing somebody. Not official yet.
Got it.
Taking it slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
And JP, do you find that you're able to communicate with your current girlfriend?
Yes.
Listen, Taylor, I don't see her being single for a very long time. But also, I, like, as much as I think that she is sexy, she's probably on that, you know, on that flag waving. She probably has an American flag in her yard. You know what I mean? Some of us know what that means. If you don't, someone in the comments explain it to someone who doesn't know what it means. But she probably has an American flag in her yard. That's what I'm going to say. She probably has a lot of American flags around her house. And that's why she wasn't bothered by JP. Because let me just tell you, from jump, if I saw JP, first of all, obviously, our meeting would go terribly because he'd be like, darky, and that would be the end of that. But if I were white, let's say, in this scenario, as soon as I saw all the, like, American flag paraphernalia, like, I would be out like a scout. I'd be like, bro, this is a lot. Like, I can't go into public with you. It's very awkward. I feel like he's one of those people who has a jean jacket with the American flag on the back. I'm not wrong about that. So, they never really work things out. She accepts his apology, but I don't think she actually accepted it. I think she did publicly for the show, but I think realistically, she's like, you can eat shit and die. I don't care. You tried to humiliate me and humble me on national streaming TV.
And on top of that, you belittled me and made me feel less than I am.
And I'm never gonna forgive you for that. I wouldn't either. I would never forgive somebody who's trying to humble me like that. Because I felt like she was beautiful either way, but she looked gorgeous, and their segment was so small. Because what went down was like big. What went down between them was big, but it was a small part of the show. So next up, we're going to talk about the Stacy, Izzy, Johnny, Chris square or rectangle, whichever form you want to use. Izzy and Stacy are not together. They made like a small attempt, I guess, but basically once it was over, it was over. They did not date each other again. Good for Stacy. Again, good for Stacy.
I wanted to give him a yes. And my gut just, I didn't feel like we were ready. So it's like when you care about someone like that, you don't want to hurt them. You want to make them happy. And I felt like the only way to make him happy was to say yes. And at the same time, like, how do I do what's right for me? And in that moment, it didn't feel like it was coinciding.
Because I don't think this was not a stable relationship. This wasn't a relationship between two partners. Now, sorry, I'm cleaning while I do this because I need to have something to do with my hands. I'm in one of those modes. So I'm sorry if it's distracting, but I've got to have something to do with my little handsies. So, or I just sit like this. So either way, either I'm moving around or I'm sitting like this, like I'm in a meeting, like I'm a bro in a meeting about to tell you about, Bitcoin. So there are going to be people, especially like red pill men, who see this situation and go, see, women don't care about anything but money. And I would counter that argument with, I think a lot of men like to conflate partnership with gold digging, right? If I alone, let's say I make $150K a year. I don't, but for this scenario, we're gonna say that I do. And I say that word different every time I say it. I'm not gonna say it again because it'll be different, and now y'all gonna catch on. Now you know, now you're gonna be watching for it. I've painted myself into a corner. But let's say I make $150K a year. I, own my home. I take care of my business. I'm able to get my toesies done. I don't bother with my fingernails. And the reason I don't is because I'm hefting heavy packages all day. My cuticles will never be nice, right? But I'm able to get my hair did. That's happening on the 24th. I'm able to do all of these wonderful things for myself. I don't know why I'm giving you all this extra information that you didn't ask for. But I'm able to do all of this. If I were dating, I'm not looking to date someone who doesn't match that energy.
Let me ask you, Izzy, because finances are a big consideration when you're taking two lives and joining them together. And I think you mentioned you were waiting for the kind of a chance for you two to be alone together to talk about finances, and it seemed like you were almost waiting for a perfect moment to do it. But I'm just curious, why did you wait so long?
The idea that you should date down is an incorrect idea. I will say that 100% every single time. It is not a good idea. It's just not. Especially for women. It turns out poorly for women almost 100% of the time. I'll say 99.9% of the time. 99.9% of the time, when a woman who is financially doing well dates down financially, it goes bad. And when the relationship goes bad, guess who's suddenly clawing at every dime she's got? I promise you it's him. I promise you it's him. Suddenly he needs all of these things. Suddenly he wants the house that he didn't pay for. Suddenly he wants all of these things. And, you are funding his dreams. You're funding his dreams. And that's not what you signed up for. And in this regard, they are trying to have a relationship. It is one thing when you know that you're going to be a sugar mama and you do not mind that. Right? Just like sugar daddies, because don't get on here being like, well, sugar daddies know what they're doing with that money. They know what they're getting in return. The sugar babies know what they're doing. This is a mutual relationship. It's mutually beneficial for them. In the case of Stacy and Izzy, that is not what's happening. Okay? Mans was broke. Mans has a bad credit score.
I didn't think it was going to be that huge because obviously with people in the pods before, they knew that about me.
Why didn't you tell me about that?
Because I felt like we never had that conversation in the pods. Like we talked finances in depth and anything like that. And
I asked if we did talk about finances, and I was like, is there anything I need to know? Do you have any debt? You're like, nope, we're good. Like no student loans, nothing.
yeah, everything was paid off. Like I just had bad credit. Like that was it.
Mans didn't even have, we don't know where Izzy lives at this point. Like we know allegedly that was not his home. So and he even says it. He says she let people here get into her head, right? Her friends. And there's a really good TikTok about that starts talking about how in romance novels, I'm going to see if I can find it and put it in here. And in case I don't, I'm going to tell you about it. How in romance novels, the heroine never has friends that she's hanging out with and talking to. And that's because friends would, if you had a group chat and all of that, it would change the dynamic of your relationship. And this is, again, another fundamental problem with the Love is Blind show is that, yes, you are in this bubble and you can focus on nothing but love. But the problem is, eventually you do have to come out into the real world. And what happened for Stacy is she came out into the real world. Her friends and her family, probably most specifically her father, were like, what are this man's prospects? What is your life gonna look like with him? And when you're asked that kind of question, especially as a put together-ish adult, that kind of question makes you really look at the other person and be like, yeah, what kind of life can I expect? Because he is not mature. He wants to be like, I can give you all of these things that some old man with money could never give you. And I'm like, yeah, except for the money. Listen, I'm an asshole. Let me But there is a reason that Stacy has dated the way that she's dated, and it's very specific to the fact that like finances do mean something. The money that she has, that's how wealthy people are wealthy. That's how rich people stay rich. They marry within their echelon. That's always how it's going to be. It doesn't change. Like, that's not some magic. It very rarely happens that, you know, some super mega rich person marries down, right? It's because their family and friend, like, people will not allow them to do that. And even if they do, it's not without the most ironclad, really intense, like 450 page prenup. Okay. Like, you're not going to just like marry in and take all the money. There's like a gazillion and one clauses. Like, if he dies at this time, and if you cheat, and if he cheat, like, there's so much, but mostly it's against you. So her choosing to say no to Izzy was sensible. It was a sensible decision. She used her brain, and she also listened to her friends and family as she should have. Just the fact that she didn't even know his best man, like, what in the hell was going on with Love is Blind this season? There was not a lot of family interaction like there have been in previous Love is Blind seasons. And I just feel like financially, they really need to be checking this shit out, because this broke dick ass thing that keeps happening cannot continue. And it doesn't matter the gender of the person. Like, this can't continue. You cannot have people who don't have any of their life together trying to find love, okay? You cannot have Izzy over here with no money, no credit score, no nothing. Like, yes, his shit's paid off, and congratulations to you, bro. Good job. Like, fucking A, you paid off your student loans, all that. You just had poor credit, which is fine, but you never brought it up, and you hid that. Why did you hide it? And Stacy asked that in the reunion. She's like, why didn't you just say something? And his response is just like, bullshit.
I think anybody, you know, with a bad credit score is not something you would want to admit, right? Just seeing from the background, you know, her and her family came from, and how hard they've worked, and like now the lives that they have. I'm not used to that. I didn't come from that. And so like, I'm working to get where I, you know, want to be.
She kept trying to ask him about it, and he kept not wanting to talk about it. And I don't think that would have changed things to where she would have said yes. So like, let me just put that out there. I don't think if they had discussed that, she would have said yes. I think it would have solidified her no even more. But the fact that they didn't even really talk after all that, for an entire year.
At first, we just agreed to take some time for ourselves. Like, let's not talk, let's not see each other, just take time for yourself, whatever that entails. And we'll meet up at some point to chat.
An entire year.
And we did. It was probably a week or two after that.
It was a week, and it was a really hard week for me.
No conversation, no telefono, nothing.
We met on that Friday, and we went out on a date, and we talked at her place, and something just in my gut just knew something was off. And I just asked her, I was like, are you even feeling this? And she just said like she didn't, and she couldn't right now. And I in that moment was shocked.
No text messages, no DM sliding. Like, they just cut ties. They were like, it's over, it's finished, we're done, we're finished with this. Like, ugh. But if I'm honest, I'm not surprised, because Izzy tried to get his gravy train running, and it didn't work out. I'm not saying that that's all he did, but I am saying Izzy was trying to make it work despite his financial difficulties. And I think that, I will also say that when she was watching this stuff back, she kind of began to realize like, oh, I dodged a lot of bullets. Like, watching it back, you've got to be like, wow. Because the way that this man just never gave the kind of energy that I would have wanted from a partner, never gave the kind of like, hey, like, I'm like, how can you take care of me? How can you say that you're going to give me all of these things, but you cannot give me all of these things because you don't have the ability to do so? Like, we're talking about getting married. What if I wanted to buy a new house for us? Like, a house for us. We need to buy a house. I can't buy it with you. What if we need a new car? I can't buy it with you. All these things that would require us to have like credit. That's why this is important, because I am not going to have things with your name on it, and your like credit is bringing, first of all, your credit is bringing everything down, but I'm also not going to have things with my name and your name, and you can't really take care of that. And if we end up not being able to stay together, you're gonna take half my shit. Let's be honest. You're gonna try to take my stuff. I'm not into it. You're also immature. And if you ever want to see how immature someone is, just see how they behave when they think you're not there so that they can talk shit. Because this whole monologue that he goes on about her, like, this is why you're 33 and not married, babes, like, I would never. No, nope. But they do end up having this funny conversation about how they both went on a date to some cooking class or something like that. Not together, with different dates. And how awkward that was. Let me just tell you this right now, because she was like, oh, Stacy basically tells him, like, she tells her date.
I like surprised him with a cooking class that he'd always wanted to take, and I'm like, real quick, my ex is here. If you're uncomfortable, I have no problem leaving right now. Let's go to dinner. He's like, if you're cool, I'm cool. I was like, okay.
It was this man's birthday. Now listen, if there's one thing I know about people in relationships and dating, no one wants to seem like they're being insecure. And instead of just saying, like, you know what, honestly, it does make me feel uncomfortable being in the same room with that. Like, can we just go somewhere else for my birthday? My birthday?
It's my birthday!
Can we? Thank you. But I guess he just would rather have just pretended it didn't bother him. So the four of them were at this table doing this thing very awkwardly. And I just died of laughter because I promise you Stacy was mean as fuck. Mean as fuck to Izzy's day. I promise you she wasn't nice. I promise you she wasn't nice. They say they talk now and, like, you know, talk about relationship problems with each other, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's more him trying to stay connected to her because you can kind of see from the body language that she's not really interested in telling the stories of what's happened with them. She's not really interested in dredging all that up. I would also like to say that the dress she is wearing, the top, like, it's a banging ass dress. It's just not for sitting. It's just not for sitting, Stacy. Because you got a banging body. You know, you have a whole Pilates studio. I call it a yoga studio last time. I'm so sorry. It's Pilates. But you have a banging ass body. I'm sad that you wore that dress because it wasn't giving when you were sitting down. Like, the top was giving everything, but, like, the whole middle part looked bad. Also, why were Izzy's socks so long? Why was his suit pants? Like, is that the new thing with the suit pants? Are they supposed to be... Sorry if you can hear Bo licking himself. Is that the new thing? Is it, like, I don't remember suit pants coming up that long. Maybe I'm out of fashion, because I'm always out of fashion. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never in fashion, because I march to the beat of my own drum, which just tells me to put on some kind of clothing so that you're not outside naked and upsetting the neighbors. So, now, we're about to get in deeper, and I think I need a drink for that, so hold on.
It's 9 o'clock in the morning.
I'm still on Eastern time.
Archer.
It's lunchtime there.
So one thing I am upset about with the reunion is that they did not address the comments he made. He being Izzy about Stacy and the partner that she's gonna have. Like, they keep acting like they're friends, but I couldn't be friends with somebody who said that shit about me. I'm so sorry. Like, I couldn't. Like, you're 33 and unmarried. They didn't really address that. And they should have, because that was really uncalled for. That was uncalled for behavior. I'm gonna scooch forward like a person. I'm gonna just keep adjusting. Get over it. But it was really weird to me that they didn't address that. That's a spot where they softballed, and I feel like they needed to have a conversation about that, because I don't think that Izzy and Stacy are as good as friends as they're making out to be. I still maintain that Stacy's ire for Johnny came directly from Izzy. I don't care. Like, that is just my supposition. I maintain that the majority of that ire came from Izzy. Here's why. In the reunion, they're sitting there trying to talk about why Stacy and Johnny can't get along. And Johnny says what I said, I feel like a while back, where I was like, I get why Johnny felt the way she felt about Stacy, because in this very odd and awkward position that you're in, suddenly I was worried that the mic wasn't on, because I was like, oh my God, if I've been recording all this time with no sound, listen, let me just try to get my hair in some semblance of order. It's not going to, and I'm not going to try to force it because it's not in the mood. You know what I mean? It's not in the mood. I've been moving and working, and I'm like, I don't have time. I haven't washed my hair yet. I need to. I just found my curl stuff, so I think I'm getting closer. I just need to find my mask, my hair mask, and then we're good. Anyways, the thing is, Stacy maintained that Johnny was talking shit about her. Now, let me go back to what I was saying before because I interrupted myself with thoughts of my hair. Johnny felt like because they were in this very awkward situation where they're all in a room and they're all dating the same men, that the fact that Stacy just really didn't share anything, especially when Johnny was sharing with her. This is the very specific point that I need to get to. Johnny was sharing with Stacy her ins and outs of dating Izzy. Now, I am neurodivergent, so I would take most things at face value. However, I'm aware that neurotypical people would see that, and even me as a neurodivergent person would see that as odd that you wouldn't tell me as I'm pouring my heart out to you about the person that I'm dating, that you are also dating, that I wouldn't feel some type of way about that I wouldn't feel like you were being deceitful. Because to me, what I could end up feeling like, which I think is what Johnny felt like, is that you, Stacy, were using the things that Johnny told you about what she was talking about with Izzy and whatnot to form a bond with Izzy.
She wasn't forthcoming in the lounge area, and I was sharing a lot with her without knowing that her and Izzy had such a strong connection. So
that's not
I
true.
felt deceived in those moments.
Do you see what I'm saying? So that was where a lot of Johnny's ire came from. And I said that before. I was like, that's weird because, again, this is an unusual circumstance. None of us are really ever going to be in a situation where we're locked in a room with a bunch of people who are dating the same people we are dating. Like, that's just not feasible. But when you are, there's like a protocol. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of a protocol in that once you realize you're both seeing the same person, you let on that you're dating them. And Stacy did not do this. And Stacy even says she did not do this. And Stacy very much deflects that. And it's like, no. And it's like, but Stacy, you're still not acknowledging. And I get that I don't like Stacy, but what I'm saying is you're still not acknowledging how that could make the other person feel. You're not acknowledging how Johnny could feel like you were using her for information and pretending to be there for her when really you were pumping her for information and using that information to form a closer bond with Izzy. Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm saying that that's how it could be perceived. So that's where all this ire from Johnny's end came from. Johnny was like, yeah, I just feel like it was really weird that I'm telling you about my bond with Izzy and all of this stuff, and you are not telling me that that is who you are seeing up until like we start getting into the nitty gritties of it. And now all of a sudden it's me and Izzy have a bond. Now listen, I'm gonna fuck you up. Okay, because I'm not the bitch. I'm not that bitch. If we're like, I would be like, you know, that's weird that you did that because like everybody in here is sharing. You are not sharing, and it's completely your right not to. But if you're not gonna share, then you also need to walk the fuck away when people are talking about who they're dating. Like that's all I'm saying. If you don't want to share, that's fine. You don't have to. But also, don't make me feel like you're using me. And that's how Johnny felt. She felt like, okay, well, you didn't tell me this whole time and I'm just like sharing all this information with you. And I'm not guaranteed that you weren't utilizing that information to get with Izzy. Even if she wasn't, that's not the point. And the point is that I think Johnny genuinely thought that y'all were connecting on a friendship level because of how you were there for her, Stacy. And then you just 180'd on her and she was like, oh my God. You were trying to see the same man I'm seeing this whole time. Like, that sucks. And she even admitted, I gotta give points to Johnny. She completely admitted, like, you know, some of the things I said were petty. You know, I shouldn't have done that and that was rude.
I do think some of the comments I made were kind of petty once Izzy ended things with me, but my point was I didn't think they were compatible. I could have said that definitely in a more calm and logical way.
Stacy and Izzy, listen, I'm gonna show you this scene. Hold on.
I'm calling her out on her shit because you remind me of me. We have good hearts. People can take advantage of us very easily.
Like
Johnny.
Oh God.
No. And so that's why I called her out on her shit, because it's just like, you were a good friend to me. She's telling us all the same shit. I promise you, I never
But to me,
said-
like, if I was trying to say, like...
I'm sorry, I didn't know I was walking into this. I thought I was getting out of the drama bit.
It's...
Stacy can give you the girl's perspective
But
side.
for me, like, if I was trying to get with you, I would go to Izzy.
Because I just see like hands waving.
Now, me and the patrons agreed. There's no part in that scenario where those two do not look like the bad guys, okay? There's none. I'm so sorry.
We're just trying to understand the story. You know what I'm saying?
Understand? No, they're trying to convince you of a story that probably didn't happen. I don't know why y'all are.
He asked, so ask him. We were there in the pods to know that you're full of shit, so it coincides with the real world that you're still
Y'all's
full of
stories are conflicting.
Yeah, it's surprising to get a hold of your real personality.
She literally just got out of some nasty argument with Izzy, who, once again, all he had to do was go, I'm glad you're happy. I'm glad it worked out for us. That's all he had to do. But instead, he railed against her for seemingly zero reason. Told her everybody thinks that she's shady, which it turns out, like from what I can tell so far, that's not what everybody thinks about her. Jessie Woo did an interview with Miriam. Is it Miriam? You should watch that. I will have that linked in the description box below. It's such a good interview. And I think that when you see, and I've said this before, like the thing about reality shows is what happens while we're like in the order that we're watching it is not the order that it took place in, right? But like you can clearly see that Johnny just had like a blow up. She just had a blow up with Izzy in her face, telling her everybody hates her and all of this stuff. Then she turns around to see, and like Stacy's right, she's like, she did just walk up. But the point is that instead of diffusing the situation and being chill,
I have always been the same person, and I shed tears for you knowing that you were gonna get rejected.
Okay.
I had empathy for you, and that's why I'm so fired up, is because you're a shit person.
I would have done the same thing. Like if I just had a conversation with somebody who just said that everybody thinks that I'm shady and I'm shady as fuck and all of this stuff, I turn around, I see them with my person, and then their person, like now all of a sudden I'm out of here and I'm just like, what are they saying? Because I have a feeling that none of it is true at this point. And then they can proceed to continue ganging up on her. I don't know why they thought that that footage would be helpful. It wasn't. They're still the villains. And I don't think that they know that they're the villains of this tale.
And I feel bad for shedding a damn tear for you.
That's
Okay,
not
well,
true.
number one, she's not a shitty person.
The proof's in the pudding. No one has ill intentions. It's just calling shit for shit.
We're just calling you out.
Like Josh be my boyfriend.
Honey, that's all I stand for.
I got your back.
And you got none
This
of
is
that.
not between us.
You got
We're
none of
good.
that.
I'm just looking out for you
We're
because you're an
good.
amazing
All
guy.
4 of us are not good.
And it's really funny to watch them try to justify their behavior. It's funny to watch Stacy continuously try to justify her behavior. Meanwhile, Johnny's on the other side being like, you know, I should have said this and like done that, like whatever. And Stacy's still just like, whatever, you talk shit about me. And I'm like, no, girl, you're not the winner. You're not. You are not the hero in the story. You and Izzy are villains in this tale. Like, Chris is just trying to enjoy his relationship that has been newly founded. They've been dating. They're enjoying one another's company. And then there you are, like, y'all, why are y'all trying to destroy her relationship? That's the thing that I thought was weird. Why would it even matter to either one of you? And this is why I was saying, like, y'all don't want to date. Y'all aren't serious about each other. Because if y'all were really about each other, it wouldn't matter who Chris was seeing. It wouldn't matter about Johnny. Because Izzy and Chris are not friends like that, okay? They're just not. And you find out in this reunion that they're not friends like that. They don't say that, but you find out because, like, when you find out what I'm about to tell you, this bomb that dropped.
Everyone was rooting like, oh my gosh, he's got her back. And you just said, I will always defend those I love. But if I may, would you cheat on those you love?
Apparently, yes.
So Chris cheated on Johnny. And here I was. I'm sorry, Johnny. I would like to take this moment to apologize solemnly. I'm so sorry that I ever rooted for Chris, because wow, that was another left turn. That was something none of us were expecting. I really had expected that either they weren't seeing each other anymore or they were just happy together. And I even said this. So look who really won in the end, you know? It's Chris and Johnny. They won. They're happy. And now I'm wrong again. I can admit when I'm wrong sometimes. Hashtag Taurus is wrong on occasion, but very rarely and only publicly when I've been clearly saying something and it was wrong. Anyways, I could not have imagined that Chris would be that. But of course I could, because I've never met a man named Chris who did not fuck over the person that they were dating. If you've dated a man, if you have been victimized by a man named Chris, please drop a spider in the chat, because I promise you have. I cannot wait to see the spiders. Listen, I knew it. He literally, they leave the barbecue, he goes away on business, they just don't see each other, and he's just like, anyways, I'm seeing somebody else. Deuces. Like, bitch.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye.
Okay, Chris. Alrighty then. Like, that shit was rough, okay? That was rough. But you know what's funny about this too? We end up finding out that Johnny and Izzy did like kind of hook up in his Jeep, but they didn't have a relationship. They didn't find like a relationship with each other. I give it a small period of time. Listen. Unfortunately, those two are kind of perfect for each other. They kind of are.
We made out in his Jeep. We never hooked up.
Yeah.
That's the end of it.
Johnny needs somebody who supports her through everything and anything. And Izzy needs the same. This is why those two should have been together. I truly believe that if Izzy and Johnny had chosen each other, just watching this reunion tells me that. Like, let me know if you feel the same. Leave comments, let me know. I truly feel like if those two had chosen each other, they would be married today. Because they both had the thing that they needed, which is undying devotion to one another. Like, Izzy needs somebody who is going to like back him up 100,000%, and he also needs somebody that he can rescue. He won't say it, but he does. Okay, he does need somebody he can rescue. That was a big problem he had with Stacy. Stacy did not need any rescuing. She did not need him to save her. She did not need him to ride in on a big white horse and just like save her from everything. She didn't need to be rescued from the castle. I'm using too many similes and metaphors now. The point is, she didn't need any of that. But Johnny did. And Johnny, honestly, I think would have loved Izzy unconditionally regardless. And Izzy would have done the same for her. Like, they would have been the perfect codependent couple, I think, like, but in a good way, not in a negative way. I think sometimes we use codependency always negative, but I think that there's like a positive codependency in which you work on each other through strengths and you help each other through things in a way that's not negative. Like, the other person doesn't fall down, you lift them up. But like, it's just funny to watch them. They kind of tried to navigate around it. Like, well, we didn't like hook up. Like, it was just like, we just kissed in the Jeep. Like, we didn't, you know, we didn't do any of that. We just like made out for a bit, and then nothing came of it. And they were both quick to say that. Listen, I promise you, those two people, had they gotten together, that would have been a marriage. They would have gotten married. They would have both said yes at the altar, and they would be married now. It's still married. That is my thoughts. I'm sticking to it. If you agree, drop a hammer. Okay. Oh, hi, it's Audra after work. I cannot believe I forgot to discuss this then, but like, also that was me kind of, I don't know what day that was. I feel like that was a Tuesday. I was feeling good about life and I was excited. Anyways, here I am on a Friday. I don't feel as good about life, but it is what it is. That's not what you came here for. I'm so sorry. The point is, there was a point where Stacy is trying to discuss her ire and her hatred for Johnny. And I want it known that Chris is the one who started havoc. He started whispering to Johnny. And when I tell you, I just kind of cracked up, because this is the point that I had been making a while back, is that Chris and Izzy aren't friends like that. I think Izzy thinks that they're friends like that, but Chris definitely doesn't, because he's a Chris. You know what I'm saying? He's a Chris. Anyways, he doesn't think they're friends like that, because if he did, he wouldn't be disrespecting Izzy like that at all. Because like that, even though that's not Izzy's girl, like clearly Izzy isn't over it. So if they were really bros, he would not be just like full on hardcore, just like having a side conversation with Johnny. But then the funny part is when Vanessa starts acting like she's a teacher.
Sorry, I just heard you guys chatting over there. Is there something you want to share, Chris?
No.
We're just
While
catching
Stacy
up.
was talking. What's that?
Just old friends.
Just catching up. We haven't seen-
Being like, oh, well, y'all were having a conversation. Bitch, if you don't get the fuck out of here, like, I'm sorry, that was strong, but like, don't come at me like that, okay? Don't come at me like you're my mom.
And Johnny, was that your recollection too? I mean, everything she's saying.
Yeah,
is that-
I'm so sorry. While she was talking to Johnny, they're having a conversation. I'm just trying to understand this dynamic.
Guess what? It was Chris. Because Chris does not give a shit about either one of those two people over there. And he really was like, from day none, if you really watch his language, like what he says and how he behaves at that barbecue, I promise you, Chris wanted nothing to do with either one of them. He was just like, I don't really want to deal with all of this. Like, y'all, like, that's probably part of what, led to their breakup. You know what I mean? Him and Johnny, because like, he just couldn't be with her without drama, right? If they went to events together, it would just be bullshit. Like, I don't agree with him cheating because he's a cheating ass cheater. He's a cheater of cheaters, and I don't like him. And not just because he cheated, but because of how he cheated. Like, he just didn't tell her. He ghosted her, like, mid-relationship. Like, you can't ghost in the middle of a relationship. It's like trying to give your 3-year-old to the fire department. Baby, they're too old. You gotta find some family. Anyways, the point is, that was an off-color joke. I'm in a dark humor mood. I'm very sorry, but also I'll pay for it later. The point is, I just found it very funny the way that Vanessa tried to act like that, and I'm sorry I forgot that in my wrap up, but yeah, that whole whisper like pss, 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 Rice Krispies conversation on the corner, I was dying because I was like, the way Chris was like, I don't give a fuck about Stacy. Let's talk. It's like, oh, we're just two old friends catching up. Listen, let me get back to the editing of this video that's already way too long. I cannot believe, if anybody watched this thing, like, thank you to the 5 of you who watched this whole thing. Mad props, mad love. Allie, I know you're one of those 5 people. Janet, I know you're the other. Heather, I know you're the other. Em, I know you're the other. All right. So now we're gonna get to the most complicated, the most talked about relationship we had there. We had the rectangle or the square of Lydia, Milton, Uche, and Aaliyah. Now, for just a quick breakdown on this situation. Lydia and Uche used to date. They used to be in a relationship. Although Uche continuously said that they dated a little bit, they were in a relationship. A very toxic one, by the way, for a very long time. So much so that 3 months before the show started filming, they hooked up. Like, it was, I've been there. I get you, girl. I think there's not a lot of people who haven't been in that sort of toxic on-off relationship where for some reason you just can't let go because in your mind you're like, maybe this time it'll be better. It won't be better. If you're in one right now, it won't be better. It's not going to get better. I promise you, it will not get better. They're not gonna magically change. Your relationship is not going to suddenly be good. All the red flags that they have, they're still there. Okay? It's time to let go. It's time to let go. Okay, now that that's been said, now that the PSA has been done. So they once had a toxic relationship. They run into each other on this show. Producers and production is like, apparently they say that they wanted to kick them off. I don't believe them at all, considering how this season went. I don't believe them. I think that they wanted the drama and they wanted it revealed when they wanted it revealed, when it could cause the most emotional damage to someone. And please, best believe they meant that on the emotional damage. The emotional damage that they were after was high. And you know what? Looks like they got it. So Aaliyah is dating Uche in the pods. Now, just for clarity's sake, Lydia was also having a connection with Izzy. That did not work out. She had a connection with Milton, and she ran into Uche in there. So like, She was very upset when her connection with Izzy fizzled out. She decided to continue pursuing the relationship with Milton. And the only reason that she originally said no to Milton was because he was 24 to her 31. And she just kind of felt like, is she 31 or 34? Anyway, she just felt like the age difference was a lot and wasn't sure that she wanted to pursue that. However, they had a lot in common. So she continues on with her relationship with Milton, even though she and Uche have run into each other. Production has said y'all can stay on so long as you don't disclose the relationship. And they don't. They continue. Lydia continues happily dating Milton. It's a good time. Aaliyah is dating Uche. Uche is an ass. Uche finds out through questions, a game that they were playing or something, that Aaliyah has cheated before in a relationship. I am always going to say this about cheating. I know people don't like to hear this, but I will say it every time I talk about cheating, which is cheating is far more complicated than people think. I'm not talking about a serial cheater who does so because they get kicks out of it, or they just like getting away with it, or they just don't like to be faithful and want to keep somebody else with them. They don't want their partner to be unfaithful, but they want to be able to be unfaithful to them. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the very real, emotional, strange things that happen to human beings within relationships that can cause them to do things that make them act out of character. No, I'm not saying cheating is okay. I am saying it is complicated. In Aaliyah's case, she realized that she had been attempting to tell her partner that things weren't really hitting on the sexual level. They weren't really knocking it out of the park. She needed it more than he was providing. And he just really wasn't receptive. And I think, you know, from her perspective, she was tired. And yes, should she have broken up with him first? Of course she should have. That wasn't on her mind, I think, at the time that this thing happened. The mind is a very funny thing. I think everybody thinks like, oh, I would break up before I cheat, but you just don't really know until you're in a situation. That is why hindsight is always 20/20. So she ends up having, you know, a little with somebody else and she doesn't tell this person. She dates him for like 3 more months and then they eventually break up when she realizes like, this is not my person. This is not going to work out. And it's time that I'm done with that. She doesn't tell them that she cheated on them. Now they know, obviously, which it's weird they didn't ask that either on the reunion. They should have asked that. Like, how does that person feel now that they know? Are they okay now? Uche responds to all this information by giving her like the nth degree. And it's not even third. It's like whatever is beyond third degree, that is what he did. He went at her like she was a prisoner in a war camp. Like it was very intense. And he would not let up. He was mean. He was nasty. And it just kind of, it broke her down. She shrunk, she cried, she slid against the wall. It was all ugliness. And then who was there for her but Lydia? Lydia was there, said everything without saying nothing, basically telling her like Uche ain't shit. Without telling her like, I know Uche ain't shit because I've been where you are. I've been where you are. This is how he is. He's mean and he's hateful. All right. They end up still getting like Aaliyah ends up talking to Uche. He forgives her. They move forward. He's like, I'm sorry I was dick, kinda. He doesn't really even say that. He's just like, I think I can move past this. But as things progress, and I'm sorry for this whole, like, no, I'm not at all sorry for this entire background because it's needed to get to where we are on this reunion. So as things progress, Aaliyah just really can't take it because she cannot reconcile the fact that Uche is saying that him and Lydia dated, but from what Lydia is saying, it really seems a lot different. And here's the thing, again, I will keep saying it 100. I don't care if you've heard this 1,000 times. I'm saying it again because when I'm right, I know I'm right, and I like to say that I'm right. And what I said was, the reason Lydia info dumped on Aaliyah the way that she did is because she knew Uche wasn't shit. She wasn't gonna get caught with her pants down. She was not gonna have Uche lying on her. So she dropped everything. She dropped every last little dime on that relationship, which, you know, in regular life probably wouldn't happen because you wouldn't be living with the person that your ex is dating. But in this situation, she knew Uche. She was aware that Uche is a monster, okay? She was aware he was poubelle, okay? She knew. So she was like, you know what? He's not gonna trap me in this bullshit. I'm having a nice time with Milton. I'm not having him fuck up anything, you know? If I'm going to tell, because please note that when she's talking to Aaliyah about the cheating situation, she says, you told him everything. You gave him all the details, didn't you? And Aaliyah's like, yeah. So Lydia knows this man. She knows what kind of havoc he likes to cause. And she was not about that life. She was like, no, we're not going to do that today, tomorrow, or the day after that. So she info dumps. And Aaliyah's beginning to realize at this point that like Uche saying that they dated is not the same as what's coming out of Lydia's mouth. Okay? And she was saying like, I'm uncomfortable and I don't want to hear all of this, but girl, yes, you do. You need to hear all of this. I know that in your mind, you're like, ugh. And I know that a lot of people were like, Lydia's doing too much. No, Lydia was doing just enough. She was doing just enough. She was making sure she was covered and she was making sure that there was no way that this would blow up in her face. Okay? Because she had a friendship with Aaliyah. We forget this. She had a friendship with Aaliyah. Not cultivated because of Uche. Again, not cultivated because of Uche. They had that friendship before. Y'all don't context clues sometimes. Y'all don't context clues. Anyway. But now Aaliyah has really had enough. So she leaves the experiment, which in reality TV speak means she went to a hotel. They put her up in a hotel because that's where you go. You don't get to go home at the end of until all the filming is wrapped. Most of the time they keep you in a hotel because they can't have any secrets getting out and have anybody knowing what's taking place. That is the fridge. It's the fridge turning on to cool. That is a strange noise. I will have to get used to it. So, Aaliyah leaves. And this is where Uche's diabolical nature really starts to come into play because he starts trying to ruin Milton and Lydia's relationship. After so many people were sitting there trying to call Lydia a stalker and be like, Lydia's crazy and Lydia's doing too much and Lydia this, Lydia that. Uche was the diabolical devil all along, baby. He's over there looking at Milton being like, you don't have to get married at the end of this. And Milton's like, bitch, why are you saying anything? Nobody asked you. And again, at the same barbecue where Izzy and Stacy just tried to ruin Johnny's life, Uche over there trying to ruin Lydia's life. He's trying to tell the girls that, you know, his side, the women aren't taking that shit. Miriam isn't taking that shit. She's like, no, you're not about to come over here with all that bullshit. You need to go. You need to get away from us. She was, listen, she dumped Uche, by the way. Again, go watch Jessie Woo's interview with her. So good. So then he tries to take Milton to the side. And Milton being the absolute agent of chaos that he is, because me and Allie were talking about this in the Patreon stream when we were watching it. And I was like, no, listen, if you want to talk about agents of chaos, let's talk about this moment right here.
She fucking planned for us to both be here because she couldn't let me go.
Like, you know, like this isn't Pythagorean theorem going on. Like this is like multi-dimensional calculus. You're in an X direction, she's in a Y direction, and I'm the Z direction. Yeah. Like I'm not even adjacent. Yeah. Just like on a different parallel.
If that is not the most chaotic response you can have to someone trying very hard to get you on their side, I don't know what is. That is like the most chaotic shit I've ever seen in my life. Like y'all, Uche's literally over here like, she planned this to like get with me. She will not break up, but she won't let me go. And Milton's response is so, like, I know people are like, he's on chill, he's calm. That was chaos. Because the correct response that Uche was looking for was like disbelief, anger, irritation, anything but this absolute like calm and then like Aristotle, Socrates level shit. Like nobody was expecting that. And we're all watching this TV like, damn, laughing, cackling. Just, we can't even handle it. So anyways, Uche's not done on his mission. He's failed here. He's realized that he cannot ruin Lydia's relationship. He cannot ruin her reputation in the eyes of everyone else. So, you know, now he talks to Aaliyah. And this is where, when I said before that their friendship, that Lydia and Aaliyah's friendship died, this is where it died. Because again, Aaliyah is over here, like, at this meetup, trying to like rationalize this whole situation and putting a lot of blame on Lydia of, well, you know, and like listening to Uche's crazy ass. I'm sorry, I know we're not supposed to use, but he is crazy. At this point, like this man is certifiable. I should know because I have also been certified at least one time in a hospital under medical supervision. So I'm saying, like, you're sitting here trying to tell me, Aaliyah, after all that mess you went through, that you think Lydia's the bad guy? Okay, so now let's get to this reunion.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
You look very nice.
Thank you. So do you all.
You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
Because this is the most important part. This is the longest part of this whole thing. I swear this video is gonna be like almost an hour long. I hope you stayed this long. If you have made it this long into this video, just drop like a yellow heart because I'm so curious to find out who made it this far. So, as you know from my last video, Milton and Lydia got married, and guess what? They are still married. It's been a year and a half later. They are still married. Apparently, it's a long distance relationship because of a job that he got and a job that she got, but they are still married. They are still happy, and you can see it in like how they are with each other. They totally love one another, and it's so cute, and I'm really happy for them. But Aaliyah, alas, is not. Now, when Aaliyah comes out here, baby, Aaliyah, I'm talking directly to you, and girl, I know that I have a tiny channel. I know that there's not even 400 people subscribed to this channel, but I need you to come on here and we need to talk because I have been where you are, baby, okay? Listen, your anger is misplaced. I'm talking to you, Aaliyah, you and me right now. Your anger is misplaced. You are putting all this anger on Lydia when where it should be and stay is on Uche, because as far as we all saw, the tape is telling the tale. And what the tape is saying is no matter what, Lydia had your back. She was there for you from day none. All right, before y'all even started meeting boys in the pods, she was there for you. Y'all were being friends, okay? She was the only one really, in my opinion, telling you the truth. I wouldn't believe a word that comes out of Uche's mouth. Not one word. Because the man has lied from the moment everything started. He cheated on Lydia and had the nerve to go after you the way, like the fact that you don't even, that's not even in your head. And I understand because again, when I say I've been there, I mean, I have been there. Because when you have low self-esteem, okay? When you have low self-worth, when you don't value yourself, when you don't value who you are as a person, when you do not think that you are bringing shit to the table, when you don't think that you are strong and beautiful and you have things and that you are valuable, when you don't think that, you become narcissist candy, okay? And I'm not saying like actual narcissists, I'm just saying like people who have narcissistic tendencies and or narcissists and or both, you become their candy. Like they look for you. They are so happy to find you because they know that they're going to be able to mold you. They're going to be able to trick you. They're going to be able to manipulate you emotionally, sometimes physically. They know that. And they are rubbing their legs together like the crickets, you know? Just listen, when Uche found out that you were upset, baby, he began manipulating you from day none. And here's the thing, sweetheart. I need you to understand that when you went from one toxic relationship, which you can't relationship, all right? You can't, it takes years to recover from a toxic relationship. It doesn't matter how long or short that toxic relationship was. It can take 7 years to recover from it because there's so many layers that you're constantly unpeeling, right? There's so many pieces of this that you have to keep just finding out and being like, oh, well, fuck, I did this too. Fuck, I do that. Because you allowed yourself, and I know it sucks, and since you don't want to be mad at yourself and you don't want to be mad at Uche, you're going to be mad at Lydia. You're going to be mad at her and act like she's the one who caused all these problems. You're going to sit there, even though you knew that production was like, y'all can't tell nobody, and be like, well, I just don't know why she didn't tell me. Girl, get the fuck out of here. Stop it. Uche has been the problem from day none. You yourself watched this. You watched how he behaved. You watched how he followed Lydia around like a dog. And I know my dog follows me around. I'm pointing because he's on the ground there, but my dog follows me around. Well, he was. But my dog follows me around. Like, he followed Lydia everywhere. He tried to ruin things for Lydia just because things weren't working out for him. If you want to talk about who was wrong in the situation, it was him. He treated you poorly, and he didn't really apologize for any of that. Okay? You lost a friendship because you let a man come in between you. Now, I need you to think about that, girl, because that's wild. That's wild. That's absolutely wild to me.
You said you were hoping to run into somebody from your past. we had a conversation one-on-one outside of filming where you told me that you and Uche discussed coming on this show. And I just feel like it's better to just kind of be real about what happened and how you both got here.
The way that you sat there and acted like Lydia did not try to be your friend, that Lydia wasn't there to support you through everything. It's the way that you were like, well, things just weren't adding up. They weren't adding up because Uche's a liar. That's why they weren't adding up. Now, did Lydia try to play off that she was looking at them stories and all that? Of course she did. None of us like to get caught in our stalking behaviors, okay? None of us like to get caught in our I'm trying to see if you cheating on me ass behaviors. None of us want to get caught. That's why, again, use the burner account. But none of us want to get caught doing it. Because I literally don't know a single woman who hasn't done that. Or a gay man, to be honest. Okay? Regular straight cishet men, they just don't. I don't know what's wrong with them. They just don't do investigations. They will enlist women to do it. They will do that. But like, obviously, and I said this before, I was like, there's only one reason that a woman starts doing that shit, and it's because you're cheating. And she's just trying to find out who you're cheating with. She's trying to figure out who it is. Because Lydia does not strike me as the person who's going to get mad at the girl. She's just confirming. She's just confirming what she believes. She's like, let me find out. I feel like that's like truly the only thing she even tried to lie about. You can see it on her face when she's just like, girl, come on now. But Aaliyah's misplaced anger made me like, I don't know, it just made me like not like her as much. Like I knew she had been through the ringer, but watching her like try to act as if Lydia was the bad guy just did some, she looked so good though. God damn, she looked good. Just regal and beautiful. But I was like, girl, I know you didn't come out here and try to like put that anger that you have for yourself and for Uche, and the majority of that anger I know is directed at yourself. I know the majority of that anger is directed at yourself because you're mad that you let yourself get caught up again. And this is what I'm telling you, and I'm telling all y'all who are watching this video right now who for some reason made it this far into my wild ass ramblings. I'm telling you right now, if you have been in a toxic relationship, baby, just stay the fuck out of relationships for a while, for a long while. You can't trust yourself yet. You are not ready yet. You've got to get yourself together. And this isn't one like, once you fix yourself, you'll find love. You may not find love. You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest. You may not find love, but you will find yourself, baby. And there's nothing more important than that. So what I'm saying, Aaliyah, is stop dating, chill the fuck out. And you need to fix this with Lydia. You need to find a way to fix it because Lydia was your ride or die and you just let her go. Over Uche? Once upon a time, there was light in my life. Now there's only love in the dark. No, it's not. It's like, listen, because she was like, well, and here's the thing that also bothered me. You come out, you see Lydia's happily married, she's with Milton, like da 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 da, and you're asking these dumbass questions. Like that's what really killed me.
I just want you to touch on those comments that were made. Like, where did that come from? Where was that instinct feeling that you were telling us all that? You thought somebody was gonna be here. If you guys never talked about it, because he has mentioned that and you have mentioned that, but the contexts have been different. And I just want answers, and I think everybody wants to understand this a little bit better.
Like, girl, why are you even asking that? Obviously, like, Lydia wasn't hoping that she was gonna run into Uche. Girl, are you serious? Like, she's literally in front of you right now, like, staring you in your eye with her man. Hi, hello, it's Friday Work, Audra here, and I just wanted to add in one more. If that was Lydia's plan, this is one hell of a long game. You know what I mean? Her plan was like, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get on Love is Blind. I'm gonna get Uche. Well, Uche's with somebody else. You know what? I'm gonna get with Milton. I'm gonna marry Milton. I'm gonna have 3 of Milton's children. We're gonna get divorced. Do you see how ridiculous this is? Like, Aaliyah, like, why were you asking these questions? It hurts my brain. You're so beautiful and smart, but right now you're being really dumb. I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay, back to past-ish me. Oh. If what she wanted was Uche, don't you think she would have him? And I'm not saying that Lydia's all that in a bag of chips, although girl looked fucking fly in her wedding dress. She was killing it. Like, she looked so good. But what I'm saying is, don't you think that if she wanted Uche so bad, she would have him? because I think the way that they edited things made it seem like she was the one being like, oh, I personally think that when they met up in the pods, she was not asking like, oh, like, should we just continue with this to like, so that they could start anew or whatever. I think more than anything else, this is just my opinion. Obviously, you can have your own. My eyelash itches. Yes, they do itch to me. But I feel like what she was really trying to ask at that point in time, and I feel like because of how they edited, that's not how it came out. But I think what she was trying to say, like, should we just go through with this like we would everybody else, so that way it's not a big deal. Like, let's just, you know, do the get to know you thing and like move on. That's not how they edited it. So I hate saying edited. Anyways, so my final point here is that like Aaliyah needs, you know, more therapy for sure. You need to get some self-assuredness, and you need to get your female friends back, because I'm now seeing when you're saying you don't find friends, I'm seeing why. Like, I don't want to be mean because you're a nice lady from what I can tell, but I'm seeing why you don't have friends. Because if every single time that you are in a relationship with a man, like, you turn on them like that, girl, I wouldn't be your friend either. I'm sorry, I wouldn't be your friend. I would not be your friend. If you're gonna turn on me, no, I'm not gonna put up with that shit. Like, not you turning on me over dick. Not you over dick you didn't even have yet. You know, you didn't even have it. It wasn't even inside you yet, and you were already turning on me. Girl, how can you be dick whipped and you ain't even got the dick? That was a lot of times that I said that word. Sorry. Oh, hello, it's me again for the final time. I cannot believe I forgot to put this in here, but the way that Milton really laid out that Uche was a monster.
We were never friends. We were never peers. He was interestingly obsessed with my relationship with Lydia.
This is okay. Yes, Milton is very logical, but again, there's no part of me that can believe that Aaliyah watched this season and still came out being like, Lydia, like, girl, you watched the season? 'Cause I watched it start to finish, babes. The confusion that is wrapped around my noggin that you could have any kind of ill will towards Lydia, like, I don't get it. Because for me, I would, like, listen, the second I walked out and I saw Lydia and Milton sitting happily on the couch, married, I immediately would have been like, you know what? I don't need any answers, because I got all the answers I needed just watching the show. Obviously, you did not come here to meet Uche. Obviously, you did not come here in the hopes that the two of you would end up together. That's very obvious now. I was led astray. I've been in damaging relationships in the past, and I allowed that to overshadow my better judgment. And I'm hoping that you and I can move forward and be friends. And I'm sorry for having put you through this. Like, that would be me. And I don't like to say I'm sorry, and I don't really like to recover most of my friendships. You know, when you piss me off to that kind of level, like, I'm done with you. I wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. There are people in my life, I'm literally not kidding. If I drove by and saw them on the freeway on fire, I would wave. So for me to like take that back and be like, listen, I saw the show. That's what she should have said, was like, I saw the show.
If Izzy asked me who I was talking to and I said, I want to keep my close, I want to keep my cards close to my chest, he respected that.
Right.
Chris respected that.
Right.
Uche didn't. He pried.
It turns out I'm Delulu. It turns out I am Delulu. I have been living in an era of confusion and delusion, babes, and I have lost my mind, and I'm so sorry. I've been eating my Wheaties lately and having some cornflakes, and I'm better. You know what I mean? Like, I would just feel like I'm so much better now. You know what I mean? I've been doing some stretches. I've been going to Stacy's Pilates classes. I am feeling like a new me. Because there's no way. There's no way that I could watch that back and still be like, I need answers, because all the answers were like staring you in your face. And again, I get that editing is wild, but like even when you go back and watch it, like I know you lived this situation, but when you still go back and watch the shit, you clearly see Uche. I'm losing my mind. You can clearly see Uche being the instigator of all of these issues.
And I knew then something's strange, something's weird. He doesn't respect, I'm saying back off. I placated with them, you know, they were not my friends. You know, whatever, like, sure, I'll take a shot with you, but we're not friends. I know his character. He gave me so much unwarranted information about Lydia.
Like the fact that he was there, and I'm so glad that Milton just kept bringing up, like, I did not consider Uche my friend, and I didn't want to talk to him about things.
Just a minute, it made the edit.
at the party, he had told me he wanted to pull up screenshots. He wanted to show me everything.
Right.
At the end of the day, I told him my relationship that I built with my fiance at the time is independent of anything you have going on. I truthfully don't give a shit, because that's how strong my bond is with Lydia.
Right.
So that should really tell you everything you need to know. If you still thought you needed answers, Milton's well thought out explanation was enough for me. Because I'm like, bro is sitting here, and this isn't an era where men immediately are like, that girl's a hoe. He was like, no, because he was in my relationship. He was bothering me. I was minding my business. Lydia was minding our business. Like, where was Uche? Why was Uche here? That's all. I can't believe I forgot to talk about that. But anyways, the video is almost over. Again, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kiara. Thank y'all for watching it. And of course, the loudest silence in that room was that Uche wasn't there. Now, why wasn't Uche there? Because Uche knows that he's finished. Uche, any designs that he had to parlay this into social media, into a career in social media, I feel like for the most part that's over, aside from him just joining more red pillars. But as we've learned from Mika's rhetoric, that whole thing is falling apart, okay? That's falling apart. Red pill is not, it's not holding the water it used to. I'm not saying that there aren't still people trying to follow that bullshit, but it's not holding the water it used to, because ad revenue, it's not helping YouTube anymore. So they're ready to let that go. They're ready to move that kind of content to the side and find their new niche of content that they're gonna push forward and make ad money off of, okay? So aside from that, Uche, he's done. And he would not have done well. Let's be very honest. He would not have been able to lawyer speak his way out of this. He would not have been able to do it, okay? Because he would have to answer for the way that he tried to ruin Lydia's relationships. He would have to answer for the way that he tried to turn everybody against Lydia for what? Do you know what I mean? This thing that was between them, she said when he tried to talk to her that she didn't want to talk to him, and he still wanted to do this. He still wanted to, because the like narcissistic tendencies that these kinds of people have. I'm not saying again that he's a narcissist, because I can't diagnose people, because I am not a therapist or a psychologist. I just watch them on TV and YouTube. That was a lot of words really fast, but I know you just followed me. I'm just saying that those tendencies will not allow him to just walk away. They couldn't. He lost Aaliyah, so in his mind, Lydia needed to lose something too. He lost that battle. So what is he gonna do? Come on this reunion with egg all over his face, looking like a full-on loser, and then try to answer for that? No, he can't do that. He's gonna show up on some man podcast explaining like why women ain't shit. And we're all gonna laugh, because we're gonna be like, Uche, you suck as a human being. You suck. So overall, this reunion did have a little bit more digging from Vanessa and Nick. I hate Nick Lachey. I hate it. I hate him. I hate him so much. I cannot stand his stupid laugh. And it's like, can't stand it. It makes me very angry. I just want to punish him. And not in the fun, dumb way, but like in a, like just, that's enough. Stop it. Vanessa looked immaculate. Immaculate. Like, that's the best she's ever looked on any of these shows. I think it's because she's been on NCIS Hawaii, and that's a good show. Girl, your acting is kind of, you know, it's okay. It's not like fantastic, but like, I like the show, you know? I like you in it. I like your character. It's a nice time, you know? So I feel like this reunion was like a step up from season 4, but again, I'm gonna need y'all to really dig in, because the fact that you didn't really dig in on the nasty comments that Izzy made about Stacy, like, we need to talk about that, because that's really fucked up. Like, him saying that's why you 33 and not married, fucked up. We really need to dig into the, like, Chris behaving like he did. Because he's moved in with a new girl, y'all, by the way. He's moved in with this girl. So what was it about Johnny? And again, like, they asked about Johnny and Izzy, but they didn't dig deep enough, because they really should have dug deeper, because I promise you, there's something happening there that I just feel it, like, somehow in, like, you know, in my clitoris, I feel it. I didn't say that out loud. I'm sorry. I just feel somewhere deep down in the bunghole of life, there's something that those two, they have a connection that neither one of them is really willing to discuss at this point in time, and that's fine.
All right, then, keep your secrets.
But yeah, the reunion was okay. I feel like I got some answers, but I feel like these people, I'm gonna end it by saying, if we're gonna have a season 6, number 1, I need y'all to stop focusing on the drama, okay, Netflix? Let's, like, not be focusing on the drama. Let's focus on the love aspect, which is what we came to this show for. There's obviously going to be drama regardless, because having that many people, like, that's always going to happen. Let's stop having people like Shane. That's all I have to say there. Let's do some credits, you know, credit checks. Let's do some psyche evals. Let's do some background checks, so that hopefully we're not having SA situations. Again, we're going to talk about that maybe in a live stream shortly. Let's try to focus on people who are the same and financially, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's not have brokies with people who aren't broke. Because love might be blind, but, you know, pocketbooks can be seen. You know what I mean? Your credit score is visible. I need y'all to focus back on what made this show popular and interesting. And to me, and obviously y'all could have differing opinions, but to me, what made it interesting was that, again, against all odds, people find love in an unorthodox way. That isn't one man and 20 women making out and going on these dates. Like, that's... I cannot, I'm never going to be able to get into The Bachelor. I'm so sorry. Or The Bachelorette. Those, like, they always gross me out. I could not be in a room full of people who are dating the same person that I'm dating. But y'all, we have a new season of The Ultimatum coming up, and I'm looking forward to discussing that. I do have a video coming up about a movie, Nostalgia, so I hope y'all will be there for that. And that's it. That's it for me. That's it for this video. I don't know if I covered all of the things. I'm hoping that I did. Bless you, son. And I hope you all enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe if you enjoy my content. That just lets me know I'm going in the right-ish direction. I'm still going to do what I want, but I like to know that you're along for the ride. If you made it to the very, very end of this thing, drop any kind of plant emoji, emote, whatever the word are words. I'm getting sleepy and I'm ready for a hot shower because my toes are cold. All right, until the next time, I will see you in the next one. Bye.
There you go. Captain America himself.
Captain America. Okay.